What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zcash today, ZEC USD. It is the 9th day of November, and here we are at about $611 right now with 9 hours and 38 minutes left in the day. You guys hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Yesterday's video, we called the low. The low, whenever we saw it, was at $508. We did go a little bit below there at 490, so I hope you forgive me. But man, $508, calling for the low to be in there. I mean, we were basically right there at the low, calling for it to bounce, calling for us to recover and continue to move up higher to prices above $800. And that's the plan right now. We're going to move up to prices above $800, right? We did suspect that there'd be a little bit of volatility here because of the interaction with the money zone that we had, right? If we're looking at this here, from a high to a low, we did anticipate a little bit of volatility. And because we were basically at these areas, we were above $700 whenever I made my video 2 days ago. We were erring on the side of caution, telling people maybe don't buy this, maybe stay away because we're at profit taking areas. It's probably not a good time to buy. Yesterday we called for the low at $508 and we're like, all right, time to buy the dip, time to get back in. And that threw somebody off. Somebody in the comments was like, weren't you just saying the other day not to buy this thing? And I responded, I was like, yes, when we were above $700, I was saying not to buy. But whenever we were right at $500 and we literally dropped $200 in a 24-hour period, yes, I did advocate. Yes, I did advocate not to buy here, and I did advocate to buy here. Is what my answer was there, because somebody was confused. Things change quickly in crypto, and I'm not trying to be snide with my remarks. I'm just trying to be very literal. One day it can be avoid this thing like the plague, and then the next day or the next week it can be time to get in. Things happen that fast, literally, right? And the reason why we knew to be cautious here is because, again, we were at the profit-taking areas of $712. But then what we did was we back tested this red line, the golden ratio, the 2,618 here, back tested it for support, and I would say that we found immaculate support, actually, you guys. We've been pretty good. We've been pretty good, right? I mean, literally throughout this whole run, I was saying don't buy Zcash here, don't buy Zcash here. We were advocating for the buy here. I did think the price would go lower. I did think that we'd go all the way back down here whenever we were at the highs here. But then on this day when we recovered, I was like, all right, we're moving up, and we've been bullish ever since. We called for the high there, the low there, called for a reversal here, called for the high here, called for the low here, called for the high here, called for the low here. We've been on fire, baby. We've been on fire. And the next call, the next flawless, perfected, perfect call that we're expecting is something between $712 and $927. That's my expectation at the moment. Okay. I don't think that this move will persist to prices above $1,000 immediately. I think Zcash will inevitably get to $1,000. It's going to happen, and beyond. It's going to get to like $5,000. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at a $5,000 or higher price by the end of the cycle. But we're probably soon to consolidate. So again, if you are buying here, focusing on what we're trying to encourage or discourage people from doing, if you are buying here, your profit-taking horizons should be very short-sighted. Okay, you shouldn't be buying here and thinking, I'm just going to hold until the end of the cycle. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if that's your thoughts, you're thinking, you know what, I'll just buy here. If it goes up, if it goes down, whatever, I'll just hold to the end of the cycle. I would strongly encourage you to wait. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, do whatever you want, because I have a feeling that once we move up to these prices above $800, wherever it is that we top off, when we pull back, we will likely go lower than even the lows that we just saw yesterday. Okay, 30 to 60% pullbacks are very common in these consolidation phases, and we could drop 50% here, 60% would take us right to our 2272. I mean, there is a reality where we go all the way up to $900 from here, and we could pull all the way back below $400 still and find support and still be in like a perfectly fine consolidation phase, and then we continue to move up higher afterwards. You know, it's not a big deal. Anyways, let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out from there, okay, and I'll explain why beyond just these lines that I think that we're going higher. Okay, looking at the 1 hour time frame here, looking at the RSI. The RSI is very productive. Overall, at least, it's been very productive. We're actually coming out of some bearish times for the RSI right here, but you've interacted with the oversold zone very well. Getting overbought very deep, not getting oversold too much, very shallow interaction there, and you look like you want to return to the overbought zone. Overall, right now, you look like you've got higher lows, and you're looking to put in a higher high, probably driving into the overbought zone by the end of the day, right? The end of the day, because it's Sunday, it's the 9th, the end of the day is right here. That's our last hour. So I wouldn't be surprised if we were in the overbought zone by the end of the day. With that, typically when you get in the overbought zone, you break out of whatever range you're in, right? We're in this kind of range here with the flat top. I wouldn't be surprised if we broke out. We could be here, the ninth day of November, above $700 by the end of today's close. And I mean, this weekly close is just phenomenal. And we actually have some theories. I'm jumping all over the place. We just went from the 1 hour time frame to the weekly time frame, but hear me out. We close the week here, and then if next week closes red, like I think it will, we're going to have a double top on the weekly RSI and some bearish divergence technically because it is a slightly lower high. Again, and we're at a 95. we're pretty damn high on the RSI. Again, if you're looking to buy Zcash here, your profit taking horizons should be short sighted. If they're long sighted, if you've got long term profit taking margins or targets in place in mind, you know, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it might be by the end of the cycle, I very much would encourage that you wait or look elsewhere because there's probably other coins that in the time that Zcash pumps and then consolidates, there will be other coins that pump while it's consolidating that you could be investing in. They do their thing, and then by the time Zcash has resolved itself, you could buy into that and then get in on the party train, right? We'll probably be at lower levels than we are now by the time this thing is done consolidating. That's all I'm trying to say. So I would very much encourage people to look at the weekly time frame. It's not that we need to go to zero now. It's just that you've been overbought consistently for weeks now at this 90 level. You're probably going to come down and reset. That doesn't mean that you're going to drop through the floor, but again, you could drop down to $300, $400, and that wouldn't be a problem. That's like normal in the crypto markets, right? Getting back to work on the 1 hour here, stochastics look positive. The MACD just crossed above the zero. I genuinely mean this. By the time you're watching this video, I mean right now we're already breaking out. I was going to say by the time you watch this video, whoever you are, we're probably breaking out of this zone here. It wouldn't surprise me if we're at $700 by the end of the day. We don't have to be. If we're at 650 by the end of the day, oh no, it's not a big deal. You know, we could go to 650, 690, close the next day back down here, and then continue to rally. It doesn't matter, right? We're overall, regardless of what happens here, we're moving higher. We are moving higher, and we're probably going to go well above $800. That's my expectation, maybe even 900. From a high to a low, the technical next target area to consider would be $833 to $962. Okay, I'm going to take this little box. We're going to call it the box of glory. It's our glory box, and we're going to move it all the way over here, okay? I'm going to move it over there and just keep it there. Again, this box is basically, let's do a better one. Let's do a nice and tight box, okay? We want our glory box to be tight. Let's find, there we go, little box right here. Golden ratio to the 1272 right there, okay? And then I'll delete the fibs. That's just the area that we're considering as a target zone. And we'll see, that's based off of this high to low as far as fibs go. We'll see as we progress through this analysis that there are other areas that come in line with this exact zone here, okay? Makes a lot of sense that that's where we're going to go. 4 hour time frame here, looking at this. The RSI is very productive. We're actually bouncing literally from the same areas that we've been bouncing from right there. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. Just below, just above. We've been bouncing from this exact area this whole time. It's phenomenal. So perfect reaction there. Stochastics look bullish. And the MACD doesn't have bullish divergence, but you had some kind of double bottom in your histogram there. I mean, overall, the MACD is very bullish, and you look like you want to come back up, so that's probably what you're going to do. Let's look at the daily time frame now. Yes, we'll zoom out. Daily RSI put in a top with yesterday's drop, right? We put in a little... Isn't it crazy how yesterday was really like a bullish day because we came back up, actually pulling up the skirt and showing the wick underneath there? We closed yesterday 6% down, and look at how much it dropped. Right? Where the day before we pumped 20%, and it only moved up such an insignificant amount from this point to this point here. Where yesterday you dropped 6%, you dropped so much more. You're very bullishly inclined here. You really are, but you can move up a little bit higher, just a little bit higher, and then you will find bearish divergence on the daily RSI and the stochastics. Maybe even on the MACD. It doesn't look like you'd find it on the MACD, to be completely fair. Everything looks bullish here. There's nothing. I mean, yes, you've been overbought for a very long time, but who cares? It's a very, very bullish chart. We look at the weekly time frame, and let's just look at the price now. Okay, from a high to a low. Again, I like to double color areas of significance. So like if it's an area, not a strict line that shows significance, like the golden ratio to the 6.9, It's kind of an area of resistance. It's not a direct line. A lot of people think the golden ratio itself, it's an end all be all. If you get above it, then you're breaking out. It's bullish. If you stop right at it, boom, that's right there. It's supposed to be perfect. But typically with the golden ratio, you actually do wick above it a little bit. Sometimes you do go above it, right? Like just because we closed above it here doesn't mean we were bullish. It's actually very common to close above it, find resistance in this zone. Two colors together means it's a zone. Two purple lines, it's a zone. Two orange lines, it's a zone. And in this zone, we have our little box of glory up here, right? The lower end to the higher end, it's actually well encapsulated within this area that we're looking to top off in. So that makes sense based off of this fib, at least in my opinion it does, as a topping off point. We take last cycle's high to the bear market low, and the 1272 interacts with that box perfectly. Literally goes right through there, dissects it perfectly. $877. That's a target to keep in mind, my friend, is $877. That could be where we top off exactly. And if not there, maybe just below, like $10 below, maybe just above, $10 above, $20 above, whatever. And if we're not stopping there, maybe we stop at the current cycle high from 2018, which also directly interacts with our box, with our glory box, our box of tricks here. Now, we could go higher. We could go higher, and I do inevitably believe that we will go higher, right? We take this high and we take this low. Let's take this low. That's a fake out low. I feel confident enough to take this retracement. I think that's fair. But inevitably, I think that we will see a $2,500 price, a $5,000 price, perhaps even a $10,000 price by the end of this cycle. These are our cycle ending targets, okay? Is there a scenario where Zcash could move higher? Sure, but let's just wait and see how we interact here. I don't think Zcash is just going to move straight through the roof the whole way up, right? I don't think that's what's going to happen. Some people theorize Zcash will see a $100,000 price by the end of the cycle. I don't think it's that simple. I think the reality of the matter is, since August, you're up a whole 17x, 16x right now, okay? From your cycle lows back in July, you're up about 35x, 40x right now, okay? You're up about 40x right now. And where we're talking about you going to, that's going to be an overall 50x move that you've had since July. I don't think you're just going to consistently move up higher without any consolidation. And the fact that you will have had a 50x move since July tells me that when we do get here in this realm of $877, $900, maybe just below, maybe just above, whenever we get to that, mark my words, I think it's $877 or higher. That's where we're stopping. If I was selling this thing, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, so I'm going to sell above 877, how I do it, and this is not how you should do it, this is just how I do it. Maybe this is how you should do it, but who am I to say, right? This is not financial advice. I'm just saying how I do it. If I think we're going to hit a target area as fine as $877 and $900, I would sell at $850. You know what I mean? I would sell ahead of time. I have no problem missing the perfect top so that I can at least get out. What if you have $1 million or $100,000 or even $10,000 and you sold it right at 877 and that was the tip, but there was only $5,000 worth of volume at that level? You only got a partial fill. Your order didn't get filled. I want to get all the way filled, right? I want to get filled up, man. That's what I want whenever I'm putting an order out there. I want the full fillage, okay? And to get that, most of the time you need to buy or sell above or below these key areas. So if I was holding Zcash, let's say I bought today or I bought down here, I bought wherever, I personally would be selling before $877, but I still do intend that we hit a $877 to $900 price top for Zcash. And I doubt that we go too much higher. If we do go higher, again, insignificant amounts, nothing that's really worth worrying about. But by the end of the cycle, again, I don't really see us getting to $100,000 or even $28,000. I think it makes more sense. You know, I mean, it makes more sense to me that Zcash would see something around like 5K to 10K. Maybe you get to 30K. Maybe. That would be crazy. I accept it as a possibility, especially after what we've seen here. But really what I think is going to happen is Zcash soon enough will be consolidating for anywhere from 4 weeks to 8 weeks long. And I'm going to stick right there in the middle at 6 weeks. Mark my words, Zcash, you've been phenomenal. You've been a showstopper. A shining example of what an altcoin should do in quote-unquote alt season, right? A shining example of what crypto can provide. your shiny exemplariness, your shininess and exemplary. I can't talk, man. Exemplary. That's the word. Exemplary. I can't say exemplary apparently. Um, it's going to come to an end. You're going to take a back seat because again, nothing moves up in a straight line, and I would expect that we do consolidate, kind of much like this here, right? Where and maybe not this long, but something that is a longer phased consolidation where we might even consolidate going into the end of the year. It might not be till 2026 that we're actually moving up higher again. But I do expect 4 to 8 weeks of consolidation, if not more. And I'm sticking with that 6 week thought, so maybe something in between there. This should be the week that we top off. If it's not, or no, sorry, this isn't the week that we top off. We have 9 hours and 23 minutes left in this week. Next week should be the week that we top off. That's my thoughts. We'll consolidate. The RSI will come back. It'll cool off either at the overbought zone, then we can get bullish, or at the 60, then we can get bullish, or maybe the 50, and then we get bullish. Probably the 50, looking at this trajectory here. But we'll see, and that'll probably be weeks away. At any rate, I don't have anything else I want to say. I hope that I've said enough. I hope that I've given you guys some things to think about. Very bullish on Zcash. Everybody and their mother was bearish on it yesterday, saying that it's because the founder is a transgender that the price is moving down. I don't think people are that shallow. I don't think that's why it is. Maybe some people sold because of that, but I think really people just need an excuse to sell. So whatever the story is, whatever the narrative is, they're going to run with it. Really, I think the reason that the market sold off yesterday for Zcash was you hit a really high price. There's some volatility along the way, right? You've seen drops like this. You've seen more intense drops like this from a high to a low. That was a 34% drop. From a high to a low here, we dropped 36%. That was more intense. Here, from a high to a low, whoops, we had a 26% drop, right? And I mean, we've seen intense drops right here from a high to a low in a day. That was 30% itself. We've seen drops that were just as intense or more intense than this, and there was no reason behind it other than it's just standard volatility. That's what my thoughts are here too. I don't think anybody cares that the founder is a tranny. I don't think that anybody cares. Maybe some people care, but those people are probably not destined to make money anyways. So I really do think that this thing is going to be well above $800. We'll see $877 to $900. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves, all right, and bye-bye.